nieces and nephews, it's Auntie Buffie to another episode of Crawl Before You Ball, Love, Relationships, and Money, a part of the ACAST network. All right, I'm your Auntie Buffie here to dish out some real, unfiltered, I don't care, I love you, I'm going to tell you the truth guidance, okay? This is edutainment. It's not going to be, just fussing at you and just take notes. There's going to be fun involved with it, but you're going to have a takeaway and some homework, and you're going to learn something today, all while having fun and kicking. All right, buckle up, darlings. It's time to break down all the money, the love, the relationships, the everything in between. And if you're new here, a little tea on TT, just a little bit of my background. For 20 years, I owned a tax practice. I owned a mortgage brokerage firm. I was a licensed mortgage broker, and I was a licensed life, health, and property and casualty agent. So I walk it like I talk it. Also, you know how sometimes people give you relationship advice and child, they ain't married and they've been divorced 15 times. I've been married for 20 years and I've been with my husband happily for a total of 25. So you can trust what Auntie says. All right, I am so happy today because I have a nephew here today that we get to talk to. So we're about to get to our show, but you know what we do first. Auntie's going to give you your weekly dose of vegetables, your financial vegetables. Okay, nieces and nephews, before we kiki with my nephew, who I'm very excited to talk to, I've got to give you your weekly dose of financial vegetables. Get ready, okay? You can put some cheese on it, whatever you need to do, but you about to get it, okay? I know a lot of y'all living from paycheck to paycheck. Auntie ain't crazy. I know what's going on in the world. I know these companies ain't paying like Auntie pay her staff. I know these benefits ain't benefiting. I also know that, we live in a society where everybody just, you don't delay gratification. We instantly get everything that we want because we see other people allegedly doing the same thing. Stop it. Now, I'm being gentle, but allegedly. You need to think outside of the box because I realize that telling you need to just budget, you need to prioritize spending, you need to pay off debt, you need to build an emergency fund, you need to negotiate your bills, talk to a financial planner, all that normal stuff that everybody has told you for years. If ain't no there, that ain't gonna work. If right now, after I pay for my rent, my utilities, daycare, fuel, and food, I got negative 0.1 cents left in my account. Where the heck am I going to figure out any budgeting, TT? Right? I understand the real world. So you got to start thinking outside the box. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. And a lot of people don't like to put themselves in that predicament. Now, Auntie says some real outlandish stuff that, used to when I used to do talks, people would be like, when I suggested these things, but I'm about to tell you now, I think this is something you should consider. Now, if your rent is astronomical, you rent a house, you rent an apartment, or if you own and it's expensive and it's too much for you now, maybe your situation changed, maybe you got laid off and had to take a job at a lesser amount of money, and that's why you're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you've always been living paycheck to paycheck because you saw your parents live in that way and you thought that's how life is supposed to be. You're supposed to struggle. It's not. I want you to think about doing drastic changes like maybe living with somebody. When I was 19 and I bought my first house, I had my cousin move in with me and pay half my mortgage and half of the utility bills. Not because I needed that, because I was like, I ain't paying this whole mortgage. And I didn't need the 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom house all to myself. And it was a good, savvy financial decision for me. A lot of cultures will come to this country, start, building a life for their family, and everybody live under the same roof. And everybody stay there, uncomfortable or not, to save money. And when they get themselves in a better predicament financially, that's when they leave the nest. That's when they leave out. Like one of the things I don't like that we do is we kick kids out as soon as they turn 18 years old. Where do we learn that from? That's crazy. If they go off to college, that's one thing. But how the heck you think an 18-year-old about to understand the world and what to do with finances just because they turn 18? We got to get it out of that. Stay home. Stay home. You can make them pay a little bill, the water bill, the light bill, something to teach them something. Give them a lease and make them do that to teach them responsibility and chip in and help out with the family. But it's silly and it cripples the family because now we got $900 or $1,000 a month rent that occasionally somebody gonna call me and ask me to help pay when it was a perfectly good room that you don't use for 18 years up and through this house, right? Sometimes we've got to like change our mindset. Housing costs are astronomical. And they are like that by design, in Auntie's belief, because in America doesn't work if we don't have a working class. And if we don't have folk that got to go to work every day, then these billionaires can't keep making their money, right? And so what's the way that we control that? We control housing. There's a reason why BlackRock and Vanguard and all these companies are buying up all the properties. It's so that they can then lease them back to you and not let you own them at astronomical rates. Everybody complains about high rent, how this. Well, what are you going to do about it? The landlords ain't going to lower the rent. What's the answer? Maybe you need to go back home. Maybe you need to go back home and be uncomfortable. Mom and dad get on your nerves. That's fine. I'd rather them get on my nerves than be stressed out about paying some $2,000 a month rent for some little 800 square foot studio apartment that I cannot afford. I'd rather go home and deal with their rules for a year or 2 years and put a short and long-term plan together to get myself together financially than have to deal with that. I also used to tell clients who would be complaining about childcare expenses, which are also astronomical. Well, ain't there somebody in the family that ain't got no job that you always loan the money to? Can't they live at the house and date a new nanny? And that's your job. Just a suggestion. And I ain't like them other people that's saying, oh, just get grandma and granddad. No, this is something you're offering the person. You can have housing, room and board, and your job is to take care of these kids and pay them a little something less than what. Just, that may not work for you. That's fine. But think outside of the box. Don't do the normal, tired, oh, well, I'll figure out, try to make some more money. I mean, if you can, do a side hustle, that's great. That's fantastic. But sometimes that's not an option for people. So you need to start attacking those liabilities. And the biggest one for most people is housing. And sometimes we need to just throw in the towel and say, yo, this living in this apartment life ain't for me. Or while I'm in my apartment, maybe I need to get a roommate and we split this because somebody else is in the same position, and deal with the problems associated with that. But know that the ultimate goal is I'm trying to get myself in a better financial situation. All right, Auntie loves you. There you go, your weekly dose of vegetables. I hope you learned something. All right, we're about to talk to my nephew. All right, y'all, I'm so very excited. I have my nephew, Corey, on today. Isn't he so handsome? Everybody relates to me. It's handsome and gorgeous. Hi, darling. How you doing?
Taking it one day at a time, Buffy. Taking it one day at a time. Hopefully I'll be better when I walk away from this conversation.
Oh, you got some questions for TT. You got some stuff going on. Murphy's Law. Tell TT what's going on. What's going on, darling?
I got some stuff going on.
Okay, let me get my notes ready. Let me get to writing it down. Okay, go ahead, baby.
Look, I got my pen and pad.
Do it one at a time, darling. One at a time. TTO. What's hit me with number one? What's the thing stressing you the most, darling?
Well, I mean, this year I turned 40 this year. So, um it's a like, in my opinion, it's like a new season in life, and so I'm very much looking forward to just getting a new start. And honestly, up to this 40th birthday, my finances have for the most part been in ruins, and so I figure 40 would be a good time to maybe just get a fresh start. So I've very much been flirting with the possibility of filing bankruptcy and starting just starting over, because within like the next 3 to 5 years I would love to buy a house. And I know that when you file bankruptcy, there's a number of years that you have to wait before you can kind of sort of move freely. And so now recently, look, breaking news. This actually just happened within the last 2 days. I actually came back from vacation.
And where were you?
I came.
And where was you at? Oh, Jamaica. Okay, you was in Jamaica, cutting up, drinking some rum punch, and doing what? All the things.
That's exactly what I was drinking the whole time. But I was in Jamaica, and I got back from Jamaica, and I get back like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I take a Uber to my car. I get to my car, and there's no car.
What you mean? What you mean ain't no car? Somebody stole your car, baby.
That's what I thought originally. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me just make sure nobody stole my car. So I called the Philadelphia Parking Authority to make sure, because I knew that it was probably the parking authority, but Philly be real crunk.
Wait a minute, Corey. What you mean you knew it was probably the parking authority? What you mean? What you mean by that? You don't scroll back to that. What you mean you thought it was probably the parking? So you parked somewhere your behind was supposed to park?
Worse, Buffy, worse. Like I have
Uh-uh.
years. Now this is a safe
It
space,
is
right?
very
This
much
is
safe,
this is
but I'm still your
judgment free,
auntie.
but you can still get on me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a years long history of parking tickets. And I
Oh.
have been a fugitive on the run, we can say. And so basically, they finally kind of sort of
Caught up with you.
caught me.
Yeah.
And the amount of money that it's going to take to get my car out is like astronomical.
Really.
And the car isn't even worth that. You know what I mean? So it's now that question that I posed in the beginning is even more prevalent because it's like, do I spend $2,000 to get the car back when the car isn't even worth half of that? But I also still have like 10 or 11 months left on the car
Or
loan. But I'm
how
like,
much is the loan? Sorry to interrupt you, nephew. How much is the loan balance of the loan?
it's about close to
So
$4,000.
you're upside down in the car, which most people are because they depreciate as soon as you drive off the lot.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Hmm.
So I'm like, I don't want to pay for a car, a monthly car payment, if the Philadelphia Parking Authority has now auctioned it off and somebody else is driving the car. So I'm like, I should roll that into bankruptcy as well. So it's just a mess.
All right.
Help.
You
And like I said, this just
I'm sorry,
happened 2 days
darling. And you
ago.
just had you a good vacation and come home and Murphy's Law is like boom in your face.
Isn't that a
It's
terrible way to come back from
horrible. It's
vacation?
absolutely awful. And I'm so
Oh,
sorry, darling. I'm so sorry.
thank you.
So again, this is a safe space, but I'm still your auntie and gonna get you all the way together. Okay. So prepare, right? Prepare.
Let's go.
All right. I love you and I'm sorry this happened. Okay, so number one, um, whenever people used to come to me when I was in practice and mention the bankruptcy word, I would always tell them the following. I don't like it when my nieces and nephews cut off their arm for a mosquito bite. And I hope that
Hmm.
resonates with you. So
Hmm.
if there is a lot more debt, like if you're comfortable, let auntie know if it's a lot more than just the car, or is there just a little bit more in addition to the car? Like,
Honestly, I would probably say that it's just a little bit more. Like there's just a couple of uh smaller credit cards and like a handful of I also don't know how filing for bankruptcy affects like collection accounts.
mm-hmm.
So I would want to rope in just those couple of credit cards and then whatever collection accounts would be eligible. So
And so you feel like it's really not like $100,000 or $50,000 or like 30. It's not an astronomical amount of money, these little small accounts when you add them all up.
no, I wouldn't say it's a action. I mean, because obviously you can't do student loans, which is a whole different
No,
question.
yeah.
But yeah, no, the regular debt is not into the hundreds of thousands. No.
Is it half of that?
Probably like 20.
Yeah, I don't like bankruptcy for you, nephew. I don't.
Okay.
Auntie would consider that chopping your arm off for a mosquito bite.
Mosquito bite.
There are 8 million different ways from Sunday to deal with those little nagging collections. There's legislation that's coming to get rid of stuff. I don't know how old some of them are. If it's getting on to 5, 6, once it's at 7 years, a lot of that stuff is just gonna magically fall off of your credit report. And I know
Hmm.
you have the goal of in 5 years purchasing a home. I would say no to bankruptcy, yes to this program called NACA, NACA.org.
Mm. Hmm.
And NACA is this it's a free nonprofit, like you can use this service. And what they will do is they will take a look at your 3 credit bureaus. They're going to sit down with you and they're going to say, this is what you need to do. So in 5 years, we can have you prepared to buy a house. And the good thing about NACA is they do the loan themselves there. It's not like they're going to get you ready and
Mm.
then make you go somewhere else. They, Bank of America and a number of other banks underwrite their products and they give you 30-year fixed, low interest rates, zero down programs. It's amazing. And I've had lots
Hmm.
of clients when I was in practice over my 20 years who've used this program. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people don't like the hoops you have to jump through, but so what? Jump through them hoops. They're going to make you attend some meetings. They're going to make you bring your bank statements and your credit card statement, do all the stuff, but you need to learn about all that anyway. And instead of going and
Yeah.
paying some bankruptcy attorney money you don't have right now, right? to get away a mosquito bite worth of debt and then put yourself back 7 years because of a bankruptcy, which is going to alter you from your plan of buying a house within 5 years. I would rather you use the NACA program. And they're going to sit with you and they're going to say, oh, these little small collections we can write or get rid of this. We can do that. And it's free, darling. It's absolutely
Okay.
free. Gratis. You ain't got to
Okay.
pay them nothing. You just got to put up with calling them back and scheduling. They'll assign you a counselor and you just stay on them. So what? Anything that's free is worth you staying on them people and jumping through hoops, right? If in the end you can get
Sure.
a very low interest rate and achieve your goal of cleaning up your credit and buying a house without having to chop your whole arm off for bankruptcy. I think a lot of people jump to bankruptcy because they hear like, Trump and all these people have filed 8 million times. They was getting rid of millions of dollars of bankruptcy. We ain't trying to be like them. It seems like have a lot of debt, but there are a lot of ways that you can work toward a plan with the guidance from NACA to help get that stuff paid off. And they also, what I love too, is they teach you about the value of home ownership in that when you buy a house, ain't nobody to call when stuff break down. So they teach you
Yeah.
about saving for all that stuff. Like right now, we don't
Yeah.
we don't have a safety net because if you had an emergency safety net, you would pay the $2,000 and just get your car out, right? Right.
Right.
And it's okay. A lot of us don't. We are starting and you're being open and honest and vulnerable. And I appreciate you for doing so because you're going to help a lot of people because a lot of people are
Yeah.
in your same situation, darling. And so, we're going to start from today and we're going to reach out
Mm-hmm.
to NACA and we're going to go to, and we're going to jump through the hoops and we're going to let them look at our whole situation and we're going to figure out, we're going to call the who is it with the city? Do they negotiate? I don't know. Auntie just asking. Do they negotiate? They don't. You just got to pay the whole amount. They ain't negotiating nothing, or they'll sell your car.
Yes, they will.
And
Yes,
how
they
long do they give
will.
you?
Ultimately, it's 30 days, but of course, every day that it's in there,
They
it's
add
racking up
more. They
storage
add more.
fees.
They add
So
more.
it's like that becomes even more of a question of whether or not it's worth it to get. But like in terms of like the car being in there, it's like I just don't know. Like, is it would it be counter? Do you think it would be counterintuitive for me to get or I guess surrender the car, but then I'm still paying on a car that I don't have? Like, and that's why I talked about the bankruptcy. Like,
Yeah,
I
but how much
just
is a car payment a month, darling? I mean, I understand car payments are a pain in the behind, but you got what, 11 months left on it?
yeah, well, the car payment is about $400 a
Yeah,
month, but
that's
the thing is, I
significant.
have to get another car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to get another car. So it's like I can't make a new car payment and be paying on a car that I don't even have anymore. So that's why I'm like, I don't know what direction I should go with this. And I literally have to make this decision within the next
But if
probably 7 days.
yeah, if you file bankruptcy, who gonna give you a car loan? Fair point.
Yeah,
Fair point, right? If you file for
yeah,
bankruptcy, who gonna give you a car loan, right?
yeah,
So it's kind of like, you gotta decide. There's no way we can, like, so if you would have gotten the car would have been fine. You'd have been fine with paying the car off in 11 months, right?
yeah.
You sure you can't call them and ask them for an extension? You sure
I
that
went yesterday. I went
and
yesterday
they
and had a whole hearing.
and they said
Yeah.
absolutely not. We want our $2,000 and counting.
Yeah, because that was actually dropped down from 2,600.
So you did
So,
negotiate a little bit now. And there
hmm
ain't no way we
yeah,
can scrounge up $2,000. I'm just asking.
yes, but
Uh-uh.
y- within the next 7 days or 14 days, again, that number, that storage fee is just stacking up and stacking up and stacking up. So, I'm gonna try. I am gonna try. I
Auntie would
think I'm going to go the direction of trying to get the
yes.
car out.
I would say, Auntie would say, do what you can to save your car. Because it's gonna be paid
Okay.
off in 11 months. And then you got a
Yeah.
car with no payment, which gonna make you then in a better position to achieve your goal of buying a house in 5 years.
Right.
Instead of I'm gonna file bankruptcy to get rid of this $400 a month car payment because I had tickets and I can't pay the 2,000 and counting fee to get the car out that I was about to own in 11 months. Because there is some value
Right.
in that. The car is worth
Right.
it. The car may
Right.
not be in your mind of Kelly Blue Book value worth the $2,000, but it is because it crank up every day and carry you where you need to go. Does it not?
Amen.
Right? So we need to figure out what we can do to save this car Start parking correctly. Love you. I say that with love. I do. Start parking correctly. Quit racking up these damn tickets. Okay? Titi, love you. Save your car. Do not fall back. The bankruptcy gonna cost you more than paying for the car. A bankruptcy attorney gonna
Right.
cost you about $3,000-$4,000. Like all these variables, it's like it's not worth it. Figure out how
Right.
to save your
Right.
car, darling, because you
And
gonna.
on that subject,
No,
sorry,
go ahead.
in terms of it not being worth it, that was one of well, I guess we kind of already crossed that bridge because one of the things that I had in mind as well was to hire a financial expert to kind of sort of coach, very much like yourself to, get me back on the right track. But I'm like, for somebody who is already in debt, I'm like, do we think that that's counterintuitive to be paying somebody to, give me the proper coaching to get back on the right track?
You
I think that has been answered
Yeah, it is.
with cousin NACA
Yes, it
here.
is counterintuitive. We're going to go the free route, the tried and true,
Okay.
where I've had probably no less than 100 clients over the years go through this program and successfully buy their first home and had great experiences with it. And yes, it was work to go through, and you got to get they give you a financial counselor for free. So why you need to go pay
Mm,
somebody? And then when you get
right.
yourself in a place where you're starting to save again and start doing investments, you
Mm,
come on back and ask TT. I got you. There are robo investing apps
mm.
out there. It's all kind of stuff. You ain't got to pay nobody, baby. That's why you got Auntie. Okay. So we're going to save our car. We're going to try to save our car. We're not going to believe the hype that
Yes.
it's just going to magically be sold in 7 days. They ain't going to, child. Ain't nobody got no
Yeah.
money? You think you're the only person that's scraping up some money right now? Child. We're going to figure out how to save our car because there's value in
You're
having
right.
a car that's paid off within less than a year. There's a lot of value in
Yes.
that. And
Yes.
we ain't filing bankruptcy because we might about to get shout out to bankruptcy attorneys. Y'all are great, but not this nephew. Not my nephew. Nope. We're not about to put no good money at bad, file no bankruptcy for no little mosquito bite of debt. Nope. We're gonna go to NACA. They're gonna put a plan together. They're gonna help us write letters, and we're gonna get this stuff taken care of so in 5 years we can purchase a home. Right? That's what we're gonna do.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
You
ma'am.
got any
Yes,
other
ma'am.
questions for TC?
Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like a big reason of kind of how I get into so much financial debt is because I suffer from FOMO,
Uh-huh.
fear of. I mean, look, this was a perfect example. Going to Jamaica. Now, could I have made a different decision? Sure. All of my best friends, we all turned 40 this year, so everybody wanted to go on a different vacation.
Mm.
Um, and so I'm just trying to figure out where I should draw the line between saying no to some things
Mm-hmm.
versus, not missing out on life completely. And I always have trouble drawing that line because like they always say, like, look, you gotta live for today because tomorrow isn't promised. And I don't want to be so hell bent on save, 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 save today. If and I don't say that to be
No,
reckless,
I
but
get
I
it.
also just don't want to be like, oh no, I can't do this. I gotta say, oh no, I can't do this. I gotta say, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm just trying to figure out where to draw the line between some of those social activities and miscellaneous
Mm-hmm.
expenses that I'm paying that kind of sort of further entrench me into this grave of debt.
I want you to be, and thank you for your question. I want you to be able to live your life. Auntie, it's
Mm,
crawl before you ball, not crawl and never ball, right? Okay. And
yeah.
so all that means is you have to budget for the fun. You have to budget for your wants as well as your needs. And so I always recommend go through your last 3 months bank statements, credit card statements, cash receipts, and determine what are needs and what are wants. And you
Mm,
got to figure out what a need is. A need is something you have to live, right? A roof over your head, water, food, clothing, not name
yeah.
brand clothing, but clothing to cover your arse. So when you out in the streets, you ain't getting no ticket or get arrested by the police, right? Wants
Mm,
are desires. That's going on trips with our friends, which is totally fine. Auntie's not judging you for that. You turn 40. That's a milestone in your life. Have fun. But you
yeah.
should have budgeted for that. And so then you wouldn't feel
Hmm.
bad about it, right? And so now what we're gonna
Hmm.
do is when we do this 3 months, when we go through all these expenses, like you said, we categorize what is miscellaneous. When you look at the miscellaneous stuff, you're gonna say, huh, Going to get coffee this morning, was that a need or a want? Because did I have coffee at the house? And occasionally I want to go for the social fulfillment of being at a coffee shop. So let me like budget however many times a month I can go do that. Budgets give you freedom. People think that budgets are restrictive. They're not. They're a roadmap to your financial success. You don't just budget your needs. You budget what I want to do in life. I want to be able to go on a trip twice a year or 3 times a year. I want to be able to go kick it with my friends and go out to the club or drink or whatever. Well, put it in your budget. Treat it like it's a bill. Have a separate account where you allocate that money just for that and you don't touch it and you use it for that. Then you won't have the fear of missing out. Then you won't have to always be telling people, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. This is what's in my budget and this is when I can hang out. And anyway, keep people out your damn business anyway. You could just say I'm unavailable that day, right? That's the other thing. We be telling people too much our damn business. Okay. We don't got to tell people I ain't got it. We can say I'm busy.
You're right.
I'm busy and you are
You're
busy.
right.
I'm busy saving for my damn house. Right?
Right.
Right? And then that
Right.
takes some of that
Right.
out. And then don't be at the house worried about that. You think of your short and long-term goals. And crawl before you ball is all about doing what you have to do now so you can do what you want to do later. Right?
Right.
It's,
Right.
it's all about delaying gratification, and that's okay. And we live in this Instagramification society where everybody thinks everything needs to be instant and da 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 da. That ain't the way the world works. And when you change your mentality about that, you will change your mindset with money, and you will start to make money work for you and not the other way around, nephew. Okay?
That's powerful.
Good.
That's powerful.
I'm glad.
Okay. Okay. Can I ask one
Yes,
more
you can ask me
question
whatever you
before
want,
we?
darling. You got me here.
So I talked about student loans earlier.
You ain't paid them for.
Admittedly, they haven't even been touched.
Okay.
Like, and I kind of sort of cringe at where to even start that process. I graduated probably about 7 years ago, and like many other people in the country, the student loans, they ain't going
Oh, a lot
nowhere.
of
And
people.
sure,
Yeah.
sure enough, they are sitting right there, kind of waiting for me. And I've heard so many horror stories from people in terms of how much they're paying a month in student loans. And I'm like, I'm barely able to keep my head above water with the expenses that I have, let alone adding an additional, some people saying 5 and 6 and 7, $800 a month. Like that is
Insane.
inconceivable to me. So I don't know where to even begin with beginning to attack the student loan debt situation.
Are the loans private or are they government loans or a mix?
Say that one more
Are
time.
they private loans or are they government loans?
It's a mix.
Okay. And I asked that, why? Because, hopefully if certain administrations and Congress acts right, then we can actually wipe out student loan debt, which they need to do in this country. It's ridiculous that our country makes people pay to go to college. It's a silly thing. And Auntie can get on a soapbox for that forever. But yes, we do have to pay our
Say it again for the people in the
right.
back.
It's crazy that folk got to pay. But you know what? Also, I wanted to say first, congratulations on graduating, because you know what? A lot of people have student loan debt and ain't got no degree to go with it. So congratulations, nephew, on that graduation. You said that and didn't, and it's kept on moving. That is worth celebration as well. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, we got to pay them folk back, baby. But I'm going to tell you this,
Yeah.
NACA will be great at helping you figure that out. They'll help you put a plan
Okay.
together. They'll help negotiate. They'll help make it be something that you can make tolerable. And again, you're going to have to do it to achieve this goal of buying a house one day. They ain't going to let you get no house when you got these people student loans and you're dodging and playing them. So, once we get the car paid off, then that's $400 a month. You ain't got to spend any more on that. We're going to make sure we do regular maintenance and oil changes and keep the tires and all the stuff on the car so we can keep her running, and we don't have to get a new car, and then we can allocate that $400 that we had for the car towards student loan payment, right?
That is really that is real. I'd never even thought about that, actually.
We almost done with that in 11 months. That's why we need to make sure we save this vehicle, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, look, I think you've answered most all of my questions. The bankruptcy was probably the most prevalent that I had, like I said, especially because of what has just happened
Yeah.
within the last couple of days.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna call cousin NACA,
Yep.
as you said.
Get on the line. Get her on the line. Yes.
And try and sort through this, because like I said, I don't want to be in a new decade still doing old decade things,
I feel you. I feel you. And
you
just
know?
remember the value in saving the car. It's going to be paid off. And as long as I keep
Yeah.
regular maintenance and stuff on, I got a vehicle that takes me where I need to go that is paid off. That is very valuable, darling. It's very
Yeah.
valuable. It is. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Well, thank
thank
you
you
so
so
very
much too, darling. Now you make
much.
sure you follow up with my team and let me know what happened. And when you get your car paid off, Auntie want to know. And if you got in touch with NACA and all the things, I mean that I'm not playing. Okay.
I really
All
will.
right.
I'm absolutely going to do it.
Good. 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 All right. Thank you so much. And if you have a question like my nephew Corey, text CBYB to 404-737-1091.
All right, Auntie Buffy, we got some questions that need answers.
All right. Let me know what's going on, Cole.
Dear Buffy, I'm in a committed relationship with a man I've been dating for 9 months. We've talked about marriage, but now he seriously wants me to consider moving in together. What is your advice on cohabitation?
Thank you for your question, niece. Hell no. Y'all ain't been together for 9 months. You ain't moving in with him. No. Y'all need to be together a little bit longer than that. Wait a little bit more further. I don't have more further is my favorite incorrect saying, y'all. We need to explore this relationship a little bit more further. That's a baby. Baby, y'all just met. You just met him. 9 months? No. No. Do you even know his middle name? Auntie's serious. I love you. I'm serious. No, hell no. No, ma'am. No, we're not doing that. No. We're gonna get to know each other a little bit more. Now, is he saying move in, I'm gonna pay all the bills? We still need a little bit more further, but what's the situation? And I asked that for a reason, because you need to know the whole picture. Is he like, oh, I just need help with these bills? And, once y'all get a little bit longer in a relationship and you know it's something that is, sustainable, then maybe that's the case. But you need to know up front before you go ending your lease, breaking your lease, or you're selling your house, or whatever your situation is, and moving in with somebody else and taking on their drama, right? Also, y'all still in the lovey-dovey phase. 9 months. 9 months? No. Auntie is okay with cohabitation after some years. Auntie and Uncle Dave dated for 5 years before we moved in together. And then we got married quickly after. So I hope that answers your question. Stay your behind where you at and you learn a little bit more about him. 9 months is not enough time. And don't let me find out you did move in. Okay? Before some years. Love you.
All right, your next question is from your Crawl Before You Ball text community. Anne wants to know, how can you shield yourself from a spouse with poor credit and financial habits?
And what you mean shield yourself from your spouse with poor habits and poor credit? Well, you can't shield yourself because you're married now. You can set up some boundaries in the relationship. You can have a joint account that is only used for the expenses for the household, and you can be the person, since you're better at managing the finances, and paying the expenses, and he can have his own account and you can have your own account. You can educate your spouse on doing better with their finances because you're a team. And so you need to grow together. You don't need to leave them in the lurch. You can protect yourself and shield yourself, I guess, with your taxes by filing separately. But if you have to file jointly because it's a better tax status for you, maybe if you have kids and you don't want to lose tax benefits, I would recommend filing an injured spouse form, which is Form 8379. And you would be the injured spouse, the person that doesn't have a whole bunch of tomfoolery and debt. You can, have separate investments. You could have done a prenuptial agreement to shield your assets before marriage, but you didn't. You could do a postnup if they were agreeable to that. Other than that, I would say you in this now, and marriage is joint and to be together. And so you need to work toward educating your spouse on better utilizing credit, paying off debt, saving, and use Auntie's old tried and true mantra: earn, save, ball occasionally, and repeat. And to learn how to do that, you and your husband can sign up for the Crawl Before You Ball course. And we also have a bundle with credit at crawlbeforeyouball.com. Nieces and nephews, you got me all the way messed up. All the way messed up. With family members staying in my pockets, not having boundaries with your partner and loaning and borrowing and intertwining and being all of my other people's finances. I'm tired. Auntie's tired. Can you tell I'm tired? Like this, number one, okay. Not number one. For the grifters out there, for the folk that stay in somebody's pocket, calling them, asking them for their darn hard-earned money. This is my number one problem. Why don't y'all have enough respect for us to just know that your ass is gonna need some money? And I just said I wasn't cussing. You was gonna need some money from me to at least do a bi-weekly check-in. Hey, Auntie, how you doing? How Uncle Dave? How the dogs doing? Without the ask. Try to do that. Like, have enough respect to finesse the game enough to act like you actually care about me and what's going on in my life. And just tee it up before you call me back 2 weeks later and ask me to pay your rent this month. That's all I'm saying. Because the problem is when you call and you're like, oh, Auntie, how you doing? How Lily and Prody doing? How Uncle Dave? Well, this was happened. And I need you to send me $2,000 to pay my rent. And the problem for me with that is I'm not trying to enable people. I'm trying to set you up for success in your life. And y'all stay on Instagram posting that last month you was in wherever on a trip with new braids all the way down to the floor, shoes on that cost more than I got in my house, but you calling me to pay your rent. You didn't know your rent was due before you went on that trip? And Auntie's not hating on you. If you budget and you got the money to do that, that's fine. But no, you know what you did? You went and took your behind on that trip knowing, oh, I'm just going to ask Buffy for her hard-earned money so I can pay my rent because she ain't going to let me get thrown out the house. No, ma'am. No, sir. We're not doing that. No, and neither is my husband. So I'm going to tell y'all a little story about Uncle Dave. Child, he almost lost an Auntie Buffie with this. So Uncle Dave started a business with one of his brothers. And it was at my guy. I said, help your brother out, start a business. They started a business together. It was in his brother's specialty. And I rarely check our investments or savings, because we don't touch them. And for some reason, one day TT was looking and I was like, why is $3,000 a month on this day coming out this account every month? I thought Uncle Dave was cheating. Man, had him a damn mistress somewhere, child. No, he was loaning his brother money. We never got it back. Giving his brother money for their business. And the problem with that for me was I had found out, and look, y'all, the family I'm already child, folks say whatever I'm saying. I found out that folks was, not available to work on the weekend. Things where when you start a business, you got to bust your behind and do. And I know because I did. I used to work every day that ends the letter in Y when I was in practice building my business. And so we have very different opinions on running a business. And you can do that. That's fine, but not with our money. And so Uncle Dave and I had to have a long discussion because I'm not out here loaning the black folk money. So why you out here loaning the white folks? Sorry, love y'all. It's all fine. Our money without having discussed it with me. We're a married couple. We're a team. And then, I had to hear somebody's wife saying, well, it's Dave's money. How the heck? It's a whole nother thing with interracial marriages, y'all. I'm already the black sheep. It don't matter. So anyway, don't. You need to have a plan with your spouse on how to deal with family and money. And I ain't saying the black folk don't ask, because they do. I'm just saying, I don't want to set people up for failure. And in my book, you'll read, I have a whole chapter on this. I'm not enabling folk. And what David and I decided to do is, because we have been so blessed financially, we do help, but we help in a different way. We got all these businesses. You call me up and say you need X, Y, and Z. I'm going to say, okay, you can work and earn this money. You can come up to that office and do some filing. You can come to this office and answer some phones. You can go run some errands. You could be my assistant for a couple of weeks so you pay this debt off. And I'm going to put you on payroll. And I'm going to take a tax deduction from the IRS for having paid you this money. Because I feel when you pay somebody to do some work and it solves their problem, and I'll front you the money up front, long as you do the work and do what you're supposed to do, that's fine. There's no animosity. There's no, I'm mad at you because you had the ability to do that. You earned it. And so then I'm not looking, it's not a loan. You came, you provided a service for me, and you can feel good about yourself because you earned the money. And so that's the way we do it now. If we're going to give somebody some money, you're going to come work in one of these businesses. And if you don't live in the town we live in, we do telehealth, telemedicine. It's plenty of stuff I could find for somebody to do with my social media, all kind of stuff. But you know the funny thing, y'all, nieces and nephews, when I offer that, they say, nah. They say, nah, I'll pass. And then I'm the villain. So stop the cray-cray. Get people out of your pockets. One of the things you can do if you are just super kind and maybe culturally you got to help is set up an amount of money per month that you put aside for the inevitable phone call from your sister or your brother or your auntie or your mama or your daddy or whomever. And then at least it's in that budgeted amount of money. Now, don't let nobody know how much money is in this, right? So say $500 a month you could put up, or $100 a month I'm going to put up toward this fund for somebody that's going to inevitably ask me to cash out them something. And then if somebody doesn't ask you in that month, keep the money there. The next month, put another 100. Then it builds. And then you don't feel bad when the situation comes up that somebody that you love needs some help and you deem the help worthy. If you don't own businesses or you don't have some errands they can run. But baby, you ain't got to own no business. Somebody can go pick up them kids. They can come clean your house. It's all kind of stuff people can do. Think outside of the box. All right, I'm off my little soliloquy. But listen, y'all, you know what it is. You know what your finances are. Get out of other people's pockets. You're never going to be able to set yourself up for financial success if you always saving other people. You're not. And it's not selfish for you to say no. It's not. You got a whole family of your own, and that's what you need to be worried about. Okay? All right. Crawl before you fall. All right, nieces and nephews, we've come to the end of the episode and you know what time it is. It's time for Auntie's assignment. So I got some homework from y'all. I do not want y'all to just be listening to this podcast, watching it, and not leaving with something tangible for you to do to implement in your life. It's very important to me. So today we talked a little bit about not letting people break up your marriage by borrowing money. We talked about not living from paycheck to paycheck and thinking outside of the box. If you are in a situation where there ain't no extra money, figure out a situation that is that where you can cut some of your expenses. And Auntie suggested maybe living together or having somebody in the family keep your kids. And I know that sounds crazy, but baby, people do it all the time culturally in other cultures. We talked about not cutting off your arm to address a mosquito bite and file bankruptcy when you shouldn't. We talked to my nephew Corey about that. I told him to look up NACA.org, NACA.org, because you can get financial planners and mentors for free. And what's wrong with free? And this is an organization that's been in existence for a long time, and Auntie trusts them. Forget FOMO. Anybody care about missing out on some mess? Don't miss out on saving your money so you can do what you want to do later, okay? And you can budget to have time with your friends and hang out, but just allocate funds specifically for that within your budgets. Budgets are not restrictive. They are a guide to your financial future. So you say, I'm going to spend this much on my needs and this much on my wants. And if ain't no there this month for a want, then that's okay. We'll try again next month. And you should also, if you want to explore getting more help, more hands-on help with learning to crawl before you ball, learning more about credit, you can take my credit course at crawlbeforeyouball.com, or you can buy my book. It's available everywhere where books are sold. If you like this podcast, please do Auntie a favor and like, share, comment, give me a rating, tell everybody about it, repost, do all the things so I can keep doing this thing that is very passionate for me. Like, I retired at 41 and I wanted to give back, and this is my way of mentoring you all. All right, I love you. I want you to crawl before you ball and go out there and be productive in society, and I will see you next week.